Imagine giving everything to the woman you loved, only for her to stab you in the back, take your life savings, and vanish without a trace. But what she didn't know was that I had a plan, and I would make sure she would regret it forever. Now let me tell you how it all went down. It all started 3 years ago when I met Emily, a woman who, at first, seemed like a dream come true. She was beautiful, charming, and seemed genuinely interested in everything I did. We met at a mutual friend's party, and sparks flew instantly. Within 6 months, we were engaged. Everyone said it was too fast, but love makes you blind, right? I had worked hard for years building my own tech consulting business. It wasn't flashy, but it brought in good money, and I had saved up nearly $500,000 by the time Emily and I got married. Everything seemed perfect at first. She was the supportive wife, attending client events with me, helping me network, pushing me to dream even bigger. But slowly, very slowly, things started to change. She became distant, secretive, spending more and more time out with her friends or going on business trips without any real explanation. At first, I thought I was being paranoid, but then little things started to add up. Missing money from our joint account, expensive purchases she couldn't explain. Late-night phone calls she would abruptly end when I walked into the room, but every time I confronted her, she would gaslight me, accuse me of being controlling, and cry until I apologized, and because I loved her, I always did. Until the day I came home to find our house empty. No note, no warning, just gone. Along with every penny from our bank accounts, she even drained my retirement savings. The betrayal was unbearable. I couldn't believe someone I trusted so much could turn into a complete stranger overnight. For weeks, I spiraled, questioning everything, blaming myself, wondering how I could have been so blind, until one night, after one too many drinks, I stumbled across her new Instagram account, under a completely different name, flaunting a luxurious lifestyle in Miami, partying on yachts, expensive shopping sprees, and worst of all, she wasn't alone. She had a new boyfriend, a rich older man who clearly had no idea about her past. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I realized crying wasn't going to get my life back. I needed to think smarter. I needed revenge, but not the reckless, stupid kind, the slow, calculated, soul-crushing kind. First, I hired a private investigator, someone who specialized in tracking financial movements and digging up dirt. I needed to know everything about her new life. The investigator quickly found that she was using fake names, fake businesses, and scamming not just me, but several other men she had dated. She would milk them dry, then move on to the next one. My anger boiled, but I kept calm. I spent months gathering evidence, screenshots, financial documents, recorded conversations, even testimonies from other victims. I built a mountain of proof so tall it would be impossible for her to wriggle out. Next, I reached out to her new boyfriend anonymously, sending him an encrypted folder filled with everything: her real identity, her scams, her fake businesses, everything. I even included copies of the police reports other victims had filed. At first, I wasn't sure if he would believe me, but less than a week later, I saw her Instagram go dark. Rumors started circulating that she had been thrown out of his mansion and that he was suing her for fraud. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted her to feel true regret, real fear. So I went a step further. Using the evidence I had, I tipped off the authorities, not just local police, but the FBI. Because her crimes involved crossing state lines with fraudulent activities, it didn't take long before an investigation was officially opened. But I still wasn't finished. I knew she would try to run again. That was her pattern. So I made sure she had nowhere left to hide. I reached out to all the major scam exposing pages on Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, you name it. Within days, her face and name were plastered everywhere, warning others about her. The shame was immediate and devastating. No one wanted to associate with her. Jobs, friends, connections, all gone. The final nail in the coffin was when the IRS got involved for tax fraud based on the fake businesses she set up. By the end of it, she wasn't living her luxury Miami dream anymore. She was living in her mom's basement back in a rundown town, broke, jobless, and under multiple investigations. And me? I rebuilt my life better than ever, smarter, stronger, and much, much richer. And every now and then, when I'm feeling down, I remember the look on her face when she realized the life she stole was gone forever. And that's only the beginning of how I made my ex-wife regret ever betraying me. After watching Emily's life crumble around her, you'd think I would feel satisfied. But the truth was, a part of me still felt empty, like she had gotten off easy after everything she did to me. And that's when a new idea hit me. What if I made sure that even her future was poisoned? I wasn't out for blood, but I wanted her to carry the weight of what she did forever. So I started by connecting with the other men she had scammed. I organized a support group online where all of us shared our experiences, evidence, and testimonies. We put together a professional-looking website dedicated to exposing romance scammers like Emily, making sure her name appeared at the top whenever someone Googled her. Every time she tried to move on, to get a new job, a new relationship, a fresh start, our website would be the first thing people saw. Meanwhile, I kept tabs on her quietly. Through a couple of mutual connections she didn't even know I still had. She tried working at a local store, but got fired within weeks when someone recognized her from our website. She tried dating again, but every guy would eventually find the truth and ghost her. She was trapped in a cycle of failure and distrust. Exactly the way she had made me feel when she took everything from me. But I wasn't. Just sitting on the sidelines watching her fall. I was thriving. I poured my energy back into my business, expanding it internationally, investing smarter, building partnerships that made me more successful than I ever dreamed possible. And with every milestone I reached, every new car, every exotic trip, every luxury home, it was a fresh reminder to her that while she had destroyed her life, I had rebuilt mine better, faster, and stronger. But the biggest blow came about a year later, when one of my close friends, who happened to be a documentary filmmaker, reached out to me with a crazy idea. He wanted to make a true crime docu-series about online romance scams, and he asked if I wanted to share my story. At first, I hesitated, worried about bringing all that pain back to the surface, but then I realized this was the final piece of revenge, exposing her to the world in a way she could never hide from. So I agreed, and together we filmed the whole story. I made sure to change names and blur faces where needed, but anyone who knew her would recognize the truth. The series blew up, going viral across streaming platforms, YouTube, TikTok. Suddenly her story was everywhere, and though I had been careful to legally protect myself, Emily knew exactly who it was about. Within weeks, her old acquaintances, former friends, even distant family members started confronting her. No one wanted anything to do with her. She had become infamous, not just in our town, but across the internet. A living cautionary tale. I started getting messages from strangers thanking me for sharing my story, saying it saved them from falling for similar scams. It felt like closure, real closure, and it wasn't about hurting her anymore. It was about healing myself, taking back control of my own narrative. Still, the final cherry on top came unexpectedly when I heard through the grapevine that she had tried to sue for defamation, but because everything I said was provably true and backed with solid evidence, the case was thrown out immediately, leaving her with even more legal bills she couldn't afford. She had gambled with my life and lost everything, and I had walked away not just whole, but stronger, happier, and free. Sometimes, revenge isn't about destruction. It's about showing them you didn't just survive, you thrived. And that's exactly what I did. But believe it or not, there's still one final twist you won't see coming. After everything that happened, I thought I was done with Emily for good. But the universe had one last twist waiting for me, something I never could have predicted. About 6 months after the documentary went viral, I received a message. It was from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to open it. When I did, I found a long text from Emily herself, begging me to talk. At first, I was confused. Why after all this time would she reach out? She admitted she had hit rock bottom, losing every connection, every ounce of trust, and every hope of rebuilding her life. She wrote that she had been living in her mom's basement, struggling to find any way out of the mess she created. And here's the kicker. She said she was sorry for what she did, for the pain she caused, and for ruining everything we had. She said she was a different person now, that she had learned her lesson, and that she would do anything to make things right. I read through the message, and a part of me felt a strange sense of satisfaction. The old me would have wanted to hear her out, maybe even offer a second chance. But the new me, the one who had rebuilt from scratch, I wasn't about to fall for it again. I thought back to everything she took from me, the trust, the money, the years of my life, and I realized I didn't need to hear an apology from her. I didn't need any closure except knowing I had taken control of my life and come out victorious, so I didn't respond. I blocked her number and deleted the message, knowing that any attempt to reach out was just another one of her manipulations. But that wasn't the end of it. Emily's name continued to haunt me. Not in the way she thought, but in a way that reminded me just how far I had come. One day, I received a call from a number I recognized. It was one of the former friends who had abandoned her when all the truth came out. She told me Emily had disappeared again, this time for good. Apparently, she had packed her things and moved somewhere out of state without telling anyone. No one knows where, and no one cares. But I realized something in that moment. Emily might have run away. But she had also left behind the wreckage of her own life. And I was the one who had turned mine into something better, stronger, and more successful than I ever thought possible. So, no, I didn't need her apology. I didn't need her to beg for my forgiveness. I had already won, and that was all the closure I would ever need. Now, as I look back, I know that this story, this whole experience, wasn't about destroying her. It was about taking back my life, taking back my power, and moving forward stronger and smarter. Because when you truly let go of someone who betrayed you, that's when you can finally start living for yourself. And believe me, I'm living better than I ever was. But before I end this story, here's a quick message to everyone watching. If you've ever been hurt, betrayed, or taken advantage of, know this: you're not alone, and you don't need to settle for being a victim. Take control, rebuild, and remember that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. And if you like this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and turn on notifications, because trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.